Hi there again. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Harish Kumar Kantilal. Welcome to the second iLecture video for the Thinking Skills and Problem Solving module. Before we start, let's look at the learning outcomes for our lesson today. By the end of this video, you should be able to: number 1, identify words used in the language of reasoning. Number 2, use the thinking map to analyze and evaluate arguments. Number 3, apply tests to evaluate the validity and acceptability of claims. And number 4, identify assumptions and evaluate inferences in an argument. First, we must be able to decide when reasoning is present. Language plays an important role in reasoning. Reasoning is the process of making inferences from the information given. Two phrases that are commonly used in reasoning are conclusion indicators and reason indicators. Remember that conclusions can come at the beginning as well as the end of an argument, and although they may be unexpressed, they may be implied by what is mentioned. Conclusion indicators signal the presence of a conclusion for which reasons have been presented, and they include phrases such as therefore, so, hence, thus, consequently, which proves, establishes that, justifies the belief, view that, it can be concluded that, from which we can infer, it follows that, it demonstrates that, and must. On the other hand, reason indicators are commonly utilized to signal the presence of reasons, and they include because, since, for, follows from the fact that, the reasons are, firstly and secondly. Learners, have you ever heard of the thinking map? Thinking map generally is a tool that can help us evaluate reasoning. Basically, the thinking map is a list of key questions that one should ask when analyzing an argument. The questions in part 1 are of analysis type, which include: number 1, what is or are the main conclusions? Number 2, what are the reasons, data, evidence, etc., and their structure? Number 3, what is assumed, that is, implicit or taken for granted, perhaps in the context. Number 4, clarify the meaning by the terms, claims, or argument, which needs it. Part 2 involves the section on evaluation that includes questions like: are the reasons acceptable to you? Does the reasoning support its conclusion or conclusions? Number 3, are there other relevant considerations or arguments which strengthen or weaken the case? Number 4, what is your overall evaluation based on what you have obtained above? Next, we will discuss the acceptability of reasons. Generally, when we are faced with a situation and we need to evaluate it systematically, we need to ask the following questions. Are the reasons acceptable, true, valid, factual, etc.? Does the reasoning support its conclusion or conclusions? Are there other relevant considerations or arguments? This is the point when thinking about an issue requires us to be critical, creative, and to think out of the box to arrive at the acceptance of an argument or claim. To summarize this, once you are reasonably clear about what an author is saying and what his reasons and conclusions are, you are in a position to evaluate the reasoning. In judging the acceptability of a claim, there are several questions to be asked. For example, a claim made by a tobacco company that cigarette smoking does not cause lung cancer needs to be carefully investigated. Now, let us explore each step in the process of evaluation of acceptability in detail. Number 1. How certain is the claim? In this case, it is definitely uncertain, as smoking does predispose one to lung cancer. Number 2. Does the context of the claim influence its acceptability? In this case, it does greatly. Number 3. Does the claim require expertise or research to decide? Yes, here we will need a panel of medical experts to confirm the above claim by carrying out necessary studies. Number 4. Is it widely known or believed? In this case, there is a widely known association between smoking and cancer. Number 5. How well does the claim fit our other beliefs and opinions? In this scenario, it fits well with our beliefs that the carcinogens found in cigarette can cause cancer. Number 6. Is it from a credible source? Although the tobacco company may be of a reputable one, it is not considered a credible source in this case. Thus, the claim is rejected based on the credibility, reliability, and validity of its source. Following that, we move on to judging the credibility of sources. Among the criteria that one should pay close attention whether to believe or not a particular statement include: Number 1, the source's reputation for reliability. Number 2, whether the source has a vested interest. Number 3, whether there is a corroboration or validation of the claim from independent sources. Number 4, whether the source has the relevant expertise or training. Number 5, the nature of the claim itself. And number 6, whether the source can provide credible reasons for the claim they make. Finally, we move on to evaluating inferences. When we argue on a certain case, we present reasons to support our conclusion, interpretation, and decision. In other words, we infer our conclusion from our reason. Normally, arguments contain both reasons and inferences. And inferences are the ones that we use in order to move on from reasons to conclusion. In a nutshell, for an argument to succeed in justifying its conclusion, it must need two important conditions. Number 1, its reason must be true or otherwise acceptable, and the inferences which then drawn from those reasons must be good ones. Well, that's it for this video, learners. I suggest you go through your modules for more in-depth explanation on the things I have mentioned. If you have any questions, you can share them with either the e-tutor or in your tutorial sessions. Good luck!